Hey everybody, welcome back to the Flat Thunder channel. My name's Andy, and this is my messy garage. If you can't tell, this is the old kitchen base cabinets from my kitchen, circa 1950, all metal construction. If you ever remove these from a home or you get the opportunity to pick these up cheap, buy them because they make great shop cabinets. Well, this has been in the shop ever since we brought the old soda pop machine over here and got it in position. We got the toolbox over here finally where it's supposed to go, but we were lacking a new countertop. We need a workbench top built for this, so we're going to try to tackle that today. Stick with us. I'll show you what we're going to get into. Pretty standard issue for cabinets made in the 50s. It's all steel construction and it's approximately 66 inches long. So what we're going to try to do is build a tabletop with 2x4s, but we're going to try to tie them together using the Kreg jig. That way they're solid and interlocked. I have this pile of 2x4s here that's basically a gold mine. They've been in storage since long before the prices went to extreme levels. I probably could cash these in and retire, but we really need a workbench top, and this is what we got. These are some of the essential tools here. This is a Kreg jig for pocket drilling. I'll get into a little more detail how that works. Basically has the fixture, has a special drill bit with a stop collar, and then obviously we have our DeWalt cordless drill. I'll show you how we're going to set this up later, but we're going to use this to tie the boards together. I always double check after I make the mark, just so I know which side to bias the blade. Alright, there's one. We need 6 more for 7 total. Alright, we got the last board cut. It's not going to stay up here unless I hold it because I am planning for a little bit of overhang on the front and then a little bit of overhang on each end. Approximately 1/2 inch on the ends and maybe up to 1 inch on the front side here. So essentially what we need to do now is line all these up and score us a line or lines where we want to put the pocket screws from the underside to attach each board to the neighboring board. So let's get them all lined up. We'll get a long straight edge and mark a line all the way across. That way we can put the screws in the same spot. Here's a little quick tip or trick that I just started doing within the last couple years. So this board is 67 inches long. I want to start and definitely have one in the middle. So sometimes you struggle with math, especially in your head like I do. If you put a mark where you think is the halfway mark, which in this case is 33.5, measure from the left end to your mark. Flip your scale around, measure from the right end to your mark, and it should be on the same mark. That's an easy way to tell if you divided the number accurately and placed the mark on your workpiece in the correct position. So what we did here in a kind of a crude way, we measured to the middle line and then every 6 inches from the middle line, working our way out. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 spots where we want screws. So we need to get our Kreg jig out and start setting it up so we can drill our pocket holes. This is the Kreg, K-R-E-G. don't know if you can read that or not. The Kreg jig system. It's a pretty popular tool for pocket drilling holes. You can use this fixture, or you can clamp this template piece directly to your workpiece. So here's how this works. On the side of this raised piece, loosen this screw. There's numbers if you can read them. That indicates the thickness of your workpiece. You slide it in there and adjust it to the correct height of your workpiece. In this case, we're at 1.5. Then you tighten your selector screw so it stays in position. This is a toggle clamp, so you put your workpiece in here, adjust this plunger so it'll lightly clamp it. This is the drill with the stop collar. The jig conveniently has a gauge here and here that you set your drill bit in and move it to the correct depth. In this case, 1.5 is right there. So I positioned the end of the drill bit, the flat part, right at 1.5. And that's where the stop collar is set to. So that's as deep as it'll go. This is a sample test piece that I made. You can see how the pocket hole goes in. And the idea with this, the pocket hole goes into the workpiece such that the drill bit will come out right in the middle of your thickness. So let's get our boards, first board in there, and start drilling. What I'm doing here is I'm just lining up the mark on this side with the center hole. You can use either one. This is so you can set up a common drill pattern. But I'm going to use the middle one, so we line it up with the middle line for B. Adjust our plunger so it lightly clamps the board so it doesn't move. And now we're ready to drill. So I have the pocket holes all drilled. Now I just need to do that for the remaining boards. So this screw will hold this board to this board. And then this board will have the drilled holes in it to hold it to this board, and so forth, all the way to the end. Woo-wee! That was a lot of drilling. For some reason I was thinking the last board had to be drilled the opposite way. But the very end board doesn't need a drilled hole or a pocket hole at all. This board will just screw it to that board. So let's get all the sawdust cleaned up and then switch over to screw-in mode. I did test fit the first two boards together. I'm going to pop those screws out, and we're going to put some construction adhesive in between each board and then screw them all together. So here's what our workbench tabletop should look like. It's nothing overly exotic, but it is going to be one solid piece when we're done, and hopefully the boards won't disjoint and separate. I'm going to, at least in the middle section, not above the drawers, I'm going to put a piece underneath and screw straight down into the boards, just to give it a little extra support in the middle section. But yeah, it's going to be one big top, hopefully. So we got our construction adhesive here, got our screw gun here. Now, I will note that the Kreg jig does use and require special screws, and it tells you the correct length of screws. I tested a piece with my regular 3-inch screws. They're supposed to have a flat head, not a countersunk head like this, but it should work okay in this soft wood. Not to mention, the screws are really expensive, and I just don't have them available right now. So let's get to gluing and screwing, get this tabletop together. Hopefully we can do this without getting too messy. I usually get it everywhere. That was one of those fun little accidents. I didn't pay attention, got excited, put the glue on the wrong side. What a dummy. Now we got that mess cleaned up and the glue off the floor on the wrong side of the board. Let's get back to work gluing this guy, or screwing this guy. All right, she's all screwed together. That was way more bending over than I like to do. Should have put that up on a workbench or a set of sawhorses. But it's a lot easier to hold flat on the floor by standing on it. Otherwise you'd have to clamp it, which if you wanted it to be really accurate and really aligned, clamping it would be the ideal solution. These boards have a little bit of twist, so we do have a little bit of mismatch here and there. But for what we're trying to do, it'll be good enough. Let's get it up there, test fit it, see what else we need to do. Ew. Look at that spuge coming out the end there. Oh yeah. Andy likey. Don't mind the mess, this all needs organized, but this is the piece here. This raised guy. And then it has these intermittently, but you can't. There's no way to screw from underneath. It's like a pin. Here's only, these recess spots are really the only place to put screws in. So got the connecting pieces to go from the front to the back. This should tie everything together and not interfere with the drawers on the left and the right hand side. Unfortunately, I only have a few screws, so I'm just putting one screw in each board. This is a reminder for myself. I need to get screws that are short enough but long enough to screw two 2x4s together without penetrating the other side. I have to sink these in, I don't know, roughly 1/4 inch or so to get it to adhere to the other board pretty good. Five screws to spare. That's cutting it close. Alright, let's get it up there. Hope it fits without hitting anything. And then we're 4 screws away, securing it down to the tabletop from being done. Oh, starting to get heavier. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. We got a 1/2 inch overhang on each end, 1/2 inch overhang on the front, and she's flush with the back of the cabinet. I am happy. Now all we need to do is secure this to the base cabinets. There's an angle bracket here underneath that you probably saw from earlier in the video. It allows us to put 4 screws in this to secure the top down. Now the tricky part is getting the right length screw so it doesn't go all the way through. This turned out pretty nice. I only used all the stuff that I already had on hand. 2x4s, the screws and the glue. I had all that. So it wasn't ridiculously overpriced like all the materials are today, but it still is probably worth some money. Turned out pretty decent. I mean, it's not perfectly flat. If you wanted it perfectly flat, you'd probably have to come up with a slightly different method of attaching it. But the whole base cabinet's a little wobbly. It needs leveled. If you hold that wobble out, this top's pretty solid. Definitely solid enough for what I'm going to do with it as a light duty workbench. And this guy was a champ. I didn't even change the battery once on this drill. Same battery the whole time. Drilled all the holes, put all the screws in. Go DeWalt. That's a 2004 vintage, still going strong. Yeah. Finally, a countertop slash workbench on this old set of base cabinets. I've been waiting for this for a long time, ever since I decided to move the old vintage soda pop machine there and the toolbox there. I wanted to make sure this had a nice top so we could use it as a workstation. If you watch my other videos with the laser engraver, I'm going to mount that on this table at some point in time and create a whole box enclosure for it. But that'll be another video. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Leave all your questions and comments in that section below. And don't forget to tickle that subscribe button on your way out. Thanks for watching, everyone. Woo-wee. It's so simple, yet so nice. I procrastinated forever. I had all the stuff to do this. I just never did it. All right.